my gosh, can we please have a conversation about You People on Netflix? I had the opportunity to recently watch it, and boy, oh boy, I have some things that I want to talk to y'all about from a licensed marriage and family therapist perspective. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Keandra Jackson, licensed marriage and family therapist here. Now look, we are talking about that new movie that just popped off on Netflix called You People. And before we even get into anything today, I want to let y'all know that this is a spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Please know that there are spoiler alerts all up, through, in, around, and down in this video. So if you have not watched the movie, I want you to go ahead and press pause, go on over to Netflix, watch it, spin the block, and then come back so you can hear my perspective from a licensed therapist. Now, before we get into the meat and potatoes of it all, I need for you to comment below. I want to hear your thoughts about this movie. And I want to hear your thoughts because people are very polarized on this. I've been reading that some people loved it, and then I've been reading that some people hate it. Now, I was on Twitter, and Black Twitter did not care too much for this movie. I mean, y'all are ruthless. Y'all ripped this movie to shreds. So I am very much aware that some people enjoyed it and some people didn't. But I come from the school of thought that even if you did not enjoy something, that doesn't mean you can't learn some lessons from it. I've seen so many life lessons, so many dating lessons, so many marriage lessons, so many family lessons in this movie that I want to share with you guys. If you don't really know what the movie is, let me give you a quick synopsis. It's basically about two people coming together who are very, very different. And also meaning their families are coming together as well. And they're experiencing a lot of ups, downs, issues, and things that we're going to talk about today. The tagline for this actual movie is called Opposites Attract, but Families Don't. And that tells you everything that you need to know about this movie. Now, if you have listened to me for any length of time, you know that I always say that opposites attract, but what keeps people together long term are similarities. I'm gonna say that again for the people in the back because I don't want y'all to miss it. Opposites attract initially, but what keeps people together is similarities long term. So give the example and the analogy of like bad boy, good girl mentality. They're so different, right? We're intrigued by people who are very opposite of us and very different and very unique and have different lived experiences and all of those things. When we get down to the rooty tooty, when we get down to the nitty gritty, when we get down to the bottom of it all, are those things that are very different, are those going to keep us together long term? Because when we start introducing things that are permanent into our relationship and into the conversation, this is when it gets a little tricky. Which brings me to my first point, which is the racial, cultural, and religious differences in this movie. So, if you didn't know, we got Laura London playing Amira, we got Jonah Hill playing Ezra, we got Eddie Murphy, we got Nia Long, we got Julia, which I believe is the chick from Seinfeld, if I'm not mistaken. We got the other dude, I think his name is David. We have a really great cast, a really funny cast as well. So whoever casted this movie, definitely want to tip my hat off to them because I do believe that this movie was casted very well. Now to go back to my original point was there are racial, cultural, and religious differences that happen and transpire between Amira, aka Laura London, and Ezra, aka Jonah Hill. Now, if you are not aware, this is a biracial relationship. This is a black woman dating a white male, right? So the racial differences here, it was very apparent in this whole entire film. Now, if you don't know that this is meant to be a funny movie, I initially watched this movie because I wanted to laugh. And I had some laughs, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I was literally holding my stomach on some parts. This movie wasn't supposed to be serious, but it had a lot of interesting dynamics that I'm gonna break down for y'all right now. So I'm gonna lump the racial, cultural, and religious differences into one category because I feel like they're very much intertwined. So like I mentioned before, we have a black woman from Baldwin Hills, California. We also have a Jewish white male, grew up in Brentwood, I believe, right? And so if you're not familiar with the LA area, this movie was based out of Los Angeles, which was so dope because there were so many of the locations where I was like, oh, I know where that's at. Oh, I see them. Okay, I've been there before. So I was really excited when I seen a lot of the landscape. They played Nipsey Hussle music. Last time that I checked, like it was a really, really great vibe of the show. So shout out to the producers for making this a LA, Cali type movie where I'm from. Clearly I have a lot to say and I'm getting sidetracked, but to go back to my original point was the racial, cultural, and religious differences. Ezra, aka Jonah Hill, was Jewish, and Laura London, aka Amira, was Muslim. And so they not only had the religious differences, but they also had additional task of intertwining their families into this as well. And so there were so many differences that was apparent between these three subjects that I was like, whoa, this is really, really intense. And oftentimes things like racial, cultural, and religious differences may not matter to some people. It depends on who you are. There are some people who are gun-ho, like, no. You gotta be my same race. You gotta be from the same culture. You gotta be from the same religion, and I ain't taking nothing less than that. And then you have other people who are open to experiencing people from different walks of life. Things become tricky, like I mentioned before, when we introduce permanence into the conversation, meaning things that we can't easily walk away from. So when we started talking about marriage in this movie and start talking about kids and all of that stuff, this is when those issues start to rear its ugly head. Because now we have legitimate questions like, okay, well, what religion are we going to raise our children? Okay, so who is going to facilitate the wedding? Is it going to be the imam? Or is it going to be the rabbi? You know, like these conversations start to come up when we are really dealing with situations that require us to make a higher level of commitment. So essentially what I'm saying is if you are going to deal with someone who is very different than you, I want you to make sure that you are completely okay with all that entails. You can't pick and choose what you gonna do. Like, you have to learn that this is going to come with differences. This is going to come with differences of opinions. This is going to come with experiences that you may not be familiar with. And are you along for the ride on this journey? The second thing that I noticed about this movie is that Ezra and Amira actually had a really great relationship prior to introducing their family to one another. So I don't know if y'all remember this part, but before they start introducing family and talking about intertwining and getting married and all of that stuff, they were big kicking it, okay? They were going on dates. They were sitting at the restaurant for hours upon hours having conversation. They really bonded over, clothes and shoes, and they would dress alike and have the same shoes. And really, it seemed like they had a really great relationship. But it got tricky. It got real tricky when they started to introduce family into the equation. I want to encourage you that if you are in a situation or will be in a situation, think about and assess the relationship of what it was like before you started introducing your family, your friends, your co-workers, social media followers, strangers, or whoever into the conversation. Because if the relationship was good before you start introducing the people, then maybe it's not the relationship that's the issue. Maybe it's the people. The third thing that I want to talk to you guys about is being yourself. I saw that as a thread throughout this whole entire movie, y'all. Being your authentic self. Like Jonah Hill, aka Ezra, pulled up to a traditional Jewish ceremony without his yarmulke and also with like some blue and white Air Forces or something. Like, he didn't even have on the custom attire. He was all tatted, showed all of his tattoos. He was just breaking all of the rules, right? And so on the outside, people were looking at him like, you're going to hell. Literally, you can't get buried around us because you have tattoos and, all of these stigmas and all of these stereotypes and all of these traditional things that he was breaking out of the mold of. But he didn't allow that to sway him from being himself. He continued to operate in his authenticity. And I felt the same was for Laura London and Amira in the movie. She literally had on her bamboo earrings, at least 2 pair. That's LL Cool J for the people who did not know. But she had her bamboo earrings, she had her hair, she had her braid, she had her outfits. Now look, side note, whoever was on wardrobe on this movie and who dressed Laura London, shout out to you, baby. Shout out to you, because she slayed in every single outfit. But to go back to what I was stating, like both of them were operating in their authentic self. I know that it's very different for some people to believe that, Jonah Hill had a podcast literally on Black culture with his Black female lesbian best friend. And that might have been a kind of a weird situation, but that's what he wanted to do, And so I just love people and I enjoy people who show up no matter what people have to say. They show their interest in whatever it is that they're interested in. They do whatever it is that they want to do, not being, fit or pushed into this box that society wants us to be pushed in. I'm talking about Ezra even went to Roscoe's. There's so many scenes of them being at like Simply Wholesome, and if you're an LA native, you already know about Simply Wholesome. To me, this was a dope expression of what it's like for somebody to be their authentic self, even when people on the outside may not agree with your choices or how you show up in the world. Number 4 is don't try to over-relate, okay? Julia, aka the Seinfeld lady. I can't even think of her name from the movie right now. But she tried to over-relate to Laura London, okay? I'm talking about to the point where the things that she said, her expressions, the way that she showed up, her facial expressions, the things that she did were not only like ignorant, but it was basically very racial. And she continued to express these insensitive remarks about Laura London's hair, about her jewelry, about her friends when they showed up at the bridal shower or bachelorette party that they were potentially going to have, and they wanted to incorporate family there. She was just weird, and she had this over obsession with Exhibit. Like, first of all, where is Exhibit at? Like, I ain't heard about somebody go find Exhibit, because I ain't heard from him in a long time. But the funny part was that they had this over obsession with Exhibit. Like, Exhibit had braids. It's like, girl, what does that have to do with these individuals that I got in my head right now? So it's just very interesting when people of different culture try to over-relate to someone based off of one little experience that they had or that they saw on TV or that they heard in a song. And it's like, baby, this is real life, okay? Like, you don't have to overdo it. You just need to be yourself. I'm going to be myself, and you don't have to put dubs on it, like we say in the hood. You don't have to put extras on top of it for us to get along and for us to potentially like one another. And I also felt like Laura London was seen as like the token Black person, or she was like a case study for the mama-in-law. It's like, girl, why are you talking about, oh yeah, I read up on Black hair and or girl, calm down. There's nothing wrong with you learning and watching videos and doing, I have no problem with that, but it was done to excess, to the point where Laura London had to read her to filth, okay? Like, filterization. She was read to filth about this very experience. And the next one is also don't purposely under-relate either. Eddie Murphy's character did not give Ezra, aka Jonah Hill, any chance. He came in the gate like, no, my Black daughter is not about to marry no white boy, and I'm not here for it, and I want everybody to know that I'm not here for it. I do not agree with this. And so he didn't even give him an opportunity to even connect with him. He didn't even give himself the opportunity to even try to get to know him and his culture and all of his whiteness, or whatever the case may be, as is. He was just like, nope, I'm not gonna try. Nope, this is not for me. Nope, this is not for my daughter. She can do better, and this is not it. And it came off as very arrogant. It came off as very disrespectful. It came off as very disrespectful to his daughter's choices, because I am so tired of fathers trying to do team too much. When your daughter is coming to you thinking that she found the love of her life in somebody that she wants to spend her life with, it's okay to be protective and say, hey, this is my baby girl, this is my daughter, I'm giving my daughter away to you, or potentially giving my daughter away to you. Please make sure you're taking care of her in every aspect. That's very different than like trying to be like, nuck if you buck on them and being like, no, if you do something to my daughter, I'm gonna beat you up, I'm gonna handle you. It's like, you don't have to do that much. The whole goal is for two people and two families to be combined and come together. So why would you want to cause tension and drama and issues early on before they even get married? Like, why are we even doing that? This is the time where everybody needs to try to get along as much as possible, not make my life and my potential marriage way more difficult than what marriage already actually is. I just feel like Eddie Murphy just wanted to catch him doing bad. Like, he was just trying to embarrass him. He was trying to make him look stupid. That's why when they went to the black barbershop, you know, when it was like, hey, white cuz, I just feel like Eddie, all of that stuff, like, was trying to make him look dumb. He didn't even prepare him for the right colors because, you know, in LA, we have gangs and, you know, we have people who rock with Team Blue, aka the Crips, people who rock with Team Red, aka the Bloods. And so you typically are trying not to wear the wrong color in the wrong neighborhood because that's how people get got. That's how people get shocked, literally. And so he just didn't want him to succeed, you know? And he even tried to embarrass him on the basketball court. And that's why I love when Ezra came through with the okie doke, thinking, because Eddie Murphy was thinking that he wasn't going to do well with playing basketball and going to the neighborhood basketball court, and he was trying to record him so he could embarrass him and all of that stuff. But Ezra came through with the, hey, like, was killing everybody, you know, and really, really surprised Eddie Murphy, which showed that there are things on the inside of us, even that other people may not know about, that can shine bright if you're given the opportunity and the chance to do so. And the next one, number 6, is go for your dreams. If you noticed in the movie, Laura London was actually a costume designer, and so she went and interviewed and was trying to do what she loved as far as fashion goes. Ezra, aka Jonah Hill, was out there as a broker, which he did not even enjoy. So he wound up quitting his job and actually moving on over to being a full-time podcaster on a podcast that's specifically about Black culture. He basically went for his dreams, right? And so this was just a life lesson that I saw, where it was just like, no matter what people say about you, no matter what people want you to do, because Ezra's family was like, what you mean you quitting your job? What you mean you trying to be a podcaster? Even he went on dates, and when he tried to tell them, you know, that he was also doing podcasting, they looked at him like as a full-time career? Like, are you kidding me? Like, no. This is what he enjoyed, and this is what he wanted to do, and so he did it. And if y'all paid any attention, all of the, like when they were going live and actually having the segment about the podcast, like you've seen all of the comments popping up on screen, all of the, you know, people attending live, like you've seen that it was lit and it was going up. So that meant that he had an audience. That meant that this podcast was doing well, and there's nothing wrong with that. And last but not least, number 7, I really saw through this movie that it's never too late. It's never too late to apologize. It's never too late to admit that you were wrong. It's never too late to fix things, because what happened was at the end of the movie, Eddie Murphy and Ezra's mom, Julia, the Seinfeld lady, came together and actually tried to reconnect Laura London and Jonah Hill after they broke up because of their parents in the first place. It's just a really dope way for the movie to end, showing that two cultures can come together, showing that two different races can come together, showing that two different religious experiences can come together, and it will be fine. I love the fact that they literally showed each parent apologizing to the other party. That was so dope. I love seeing Eddie Murphy apologize to Ezra. I love seeing Julia apologize to Laura London, and the apology felt real. The apology felt like they meant it. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm sorry for what I said. They went into detail. I'm sorry that I made you feel this way. I'm sorry that I wasn't aware of my biases. I'm sorry that some people experience this, that, and the other. Like, that was so dope to me, you know? And it really just showed that at the end of the day, we're dealing with two adults. These two are grown. So if they want to be together, if they want to get married, whatever they want to do is up to them. We should be in a position to say, you know what? As long as this relationship is healthy, that is not toxic, it isn't unhealthy, there isn't abuse, there isn't any issues. The fact that you want to be with my daughter, the fact that my daughter wants to be with you, this is you guys' decision. I may not 100% agree with everything, but I'm okay with it. I may not 100% agree with it, but I respect your choice, right? There is a major difference between agreeing with somebody and respecting it. But even if you can't fully agree, the fact that you can respect somebody, respect their choice, respect their relationship goes a long way. One more little marriage and family therapist nugget before we roll on out of here is keep some stuff to yourself, y'all. Keep some stuff to yourself about your relationship. You do not have to tell all of your family, all of your friends, or anybody every single thing that goes on in your relationship. Trust me, there are some things that you want to hold close to your chest, because if your father, if your mother, if your sibling, or whoever finds out, that might put your partner or potential future spouse in a position that they may not want to be in. Meaning now your family and friends are going to be looking at them cockeyed and sideways because of the information that they know about them. It's close to your chest and hush hush, and the only people that know about it is you and your. So thank you for taking the time to watch this review of You People. And look, there's some other reviews about TV shows and movies that's going to be coming your way from a licensed therapist perspective, so stay tuned.